Doom Eternal is often praised as one of the most cerebral shooters ever made. Its defenders point to its dense systems, aggressive resource management, strict combat loops, and high mechanical demands as proof of depth. You must constantly think, they say. You must plan, adapt, and execute under pressure. But that claim deserves closer scrutiny, because when you strip away the spectacle, Doom Eternal doesn't actually ask players to think freely. It asks them to perform correctly. And the overwhelming embrace of this design philosophy reveals something uncomfortable, not just about modern games, but about modern players. Doom Eternal's success horrifically proves that much of contemporary gaming culture prefers being managed, as long as that management is disguised as choice, and that many people mistake execution for cerebrality. At first glance, Doom Eternal appears overflowing with options: weapons, mods, grenades, flamethrowers, chainsaws, glory kills, blood punches. On paper, the sandbox looks vast. But choice isn't defined by the number of tools you're given. Choice is defined by whether the game allows those tools to be used inefficiently, creatively, or suboptimally without punishment. Doom Eternal does not. Instead, it operates on a tightly controlled logic. Ammo scarcity pushes weapon swapping, armor scarcity pushes flame belch usage, health scarcity pushes glory kills, cooldowns dictate when you're allowed to recover, enemy-specific interactions quietly rank solutions from acceptable to discouraged. Yes, you can deviate, but the game applies friction until you return to the intended loop. The system doesn't ask, "What do you want to do?" It asks, "Why aren't you doing what we taught you?" That's not freedom. That's compliance dressed as variety. One of the most common defenses of Eternal is that it forces you to think under pressure. But thinking and executing are not the same cognitive activity. Thinking involves uncertainty, risk, and ambiguous outcomes. Execution involves recognizing the correct input and performing it quickly. Doom Eternal overwhelmingly rewards the latter. Once the combat language is learned, encounters stop being puzzles and start becoming performance checks. The player isn't solving problems so much as recalling solutions and applying them under stress. That is demanding. It is not intellectually liberating. In fact, many players describe the same experience. The game feels overwhelming at first, then suddenly clicks, and afterward becomes rigid, exhausting, and repetitive. That click isn't enlightenment, it's internalizing the rules. Here's the uncomfortable part. Many players like being managed, not consciously, but emotionally. Doom Eternal provides clear feedback, immediate validation, constant forward momentum, a sense of mastery through obedience. You do the right thing, the game rewards you. You do the wrong thing, the game corrects you. This mirrors how many modern systems operate: productivity apps, algorithms, workflows, even social media. People are conditioned to thrive under guided optimization rather than open-ended problem solving. The illusion of choice is enough, as long as the path forward is clear and success is measurable. Doom Eternal doesn't ask players to wonder. It asks them to optimize themselves. When players return to older shooters or more open systems, they often describe them as simple or less demanding. But what they're really reacting to is the absence of guidance. Older design philosophies didn't track your performance for you, didn't refill resources on command, didn't protect you from inefficient decisions, didn't explain optimal play. You had to infer, experiment, fail quietly, and adapt over time. That kind of thinking is slower, less flashy, and harder to quantify. It doesn't feel like mastery. It feels like uncertainty. And uncertainty is uncomfortable. So modern audiences gravitate toward games that manage the discomfort away. Doom Eternal is praised not because it's philosophically deep, but because it is mechanically explicit. It tells you what matters. It reinforces correct behavior. It punishes deviation. It constantly reassures you that mastery is achievable. This creates a powerful sense of competence. But competence is not curiosity. Mastery is not freedom. And execution is not thought. The game doesn't trust players to decide what kind of slayer they want to be. It trains them to become the slayer the system demands. The most telling part of Doom Eternal's reception isn't the praise, it's the reaction to criticism. When players question the rigidity of the systems, they're often told, "You just don't get it. You're playing it wrong. The game is teaching you something." Those are not defenses of creativity. They are defenses of authority. They assume that deviation is ignorance, not preference, and that design intent outweighs player experience. That mindset doesn't come from games alone. It reflects a broader cultural comfort with being guided, corrected, and optimized, as long as the process feels empowering. Doom Eternal is not a bad game. It is an impressive, demanding, meticulously engineered one, but its existence and the way it's defended reveals something deeply unsettling: that many players no longer equate depth with freedom. They equate it with structure, with rules, with being told how to succeed. The illusion of choice is enough so long as the system keeps moving and the feedback keeps flowing. Doom Eternal didn't just refine a combat loop, it exposed a preference for execution over exploration, for management over agency, for comfort over ambiguity. And that may be its most honest legacy. If Doom Eternal inadvertently revealed a broader cultural preference for being managed under the illusion of choice, Doom 2016 did the opposite. And that contrast highlights exactly where the two design philosophies diverge. Where Eternal leans into system enforcement, Doom 2016 leans into player authorship. Where Eternal teaches you the system's way, Doom 2016 presents tools and lets you forge your own path. And players noticed, not because they're nostalgic, but because the design itself feels fundamentally different. Here's how. Doom 2016 doesn't manage you, it presents problems. In Doom 2016, the game seldom tells you what is correct. It gives you weapons, it gives you pickups, it gives you enemies, then it lets you interpret the situation. There is no ammo economy that forces weapon cycling with embedded penalties. There are no cooldown meters you must adhere to. There are no animation gating systems that dictate when you're allowed to survive. Instead, the resource economy is open. You find ammo and health in the environment. You choose whether to save it, spend it, or waste it. And that choice has actual consequences. Not because it's optimal, but because the game doesn't undo your decisions for you. Doom 2016 doesn't breathe down your neck with systems designed to keep you inside a loop. It tells you, here are your tools, deal with it. That's not simplicity, that's agency. Combat flow in Doom 2016 is player-driven, not system-driven. Doom Eternal is known for its frantic pace, and that's part of what makes the difference so stark. In Doom 2016, combat feels fast, but it's paced around player movement and decision-making, not system cues. You kill enemies, you reposition, you hunt pickups, you improvise. There is no central loop with mandatory refills. There is a rhythm, but it is rhythm shaped by the player, not enforced by mechanics. Glory kills are icing, not anchors. Weapon switches happen when you decide. Ammo management is strategy, not schedule. You could engage a room with rockets, or you could conserve them and rifle your way through. You choose based on judgment, risk tolerance, and style. That kind of freedom, where suboptimal play isn't punished with cooldowns, but with actual scarcity, feels cerebral because you own the consequences. That's not illusion, that's agency. Resource management in Doom 2016 is situational, not systemic. Doom Eternal's resource economy is proactive, meaning the game expects you to maintain your ammo, health, and armor through mechanics that are constantly running in the background. In Doom 2016, resource management is opportunistic. You don't get refills because a button says so. You get them because you earned them by clearing rooms, exploring corridors, and mastering movement. Explore a new area? Here's ammo. Here's armor. Here's health. That encourages exploration driven by curiosity, not by system enforcement. And because pickups exist in the world instead of being re-earned by executing specific loops, your actions are not corralled by mechanics. You are free to solve the problem of survival in your own way. Boss fights in Doom 2016 respect the mechanics you've been using. This is a big one, especially compared to Eternal's icon of sin issue. Doom 2016 bosses like the Cyber Demon and Spider Mastermind scale up the same mechanics the game has been using all along. They don't force you into a temporary different rule set. They fracture the difficulty, but they don't fracture the design language. The Cyber Demon fight is a bigger version of the combat you've been doing. Dodge, read patterns, space, manage arena hazards. The Spider Mastermind fight is the same, just more intense. You're still using movement, weapon choice, timing, and decision-making, just at a heightened level. There's no breakpoint where the game suddenly says, okay, now forget everything you've learned. That consistency is why 2016 bosses feel fair and feel like Doom. They don't contradict the combat loop, they magnify it. That consistency is a design choice, and it matters. The story delivery in Doom 2016 respects play. Doom 2016's narrative exists mostly in the background, through environment, incidental audio logs, and world context. It never interrupts the game to explain itself. You don't watch long cutscenes, you don't pause for expository dumps, you discover context as you move. That design aligns perfectly with its philosophy: movement as meaning, forward motion as priority, play as the storyteller. Eternal, by contrast, often stops you to explain. Cutscenes, codex walls of text, floating tutorial info boxes. That's not inherently bad, but it's not consistent with the unrelenting motion of its combat either. It's another clash between philosophy and implementation. Doom 2016 trusts you, Eternal tells you. This might be the core difference. In Doom 2016, the game doesn't assume you need to be corrected or reminded how to play. It assumes you can figure it out and then either succeed or fail based on your judgment. That's genuine complexity, not prescribed complexity. Doom Eternal, on the other hand, assumes you will either follow the loop or get punished until you do. That's a very different relationship between player and system. One trusts you to make choices without constant feedback loops. The other constantly loops feedback until obedience emerges. One feels cerebral because it's open-ended. The other feels technical because it's structured. Players confuse the two, and Doom Eternal's success proves just how common that misunderstanding has become. Doom 2016 didn't just feel better. It played better. Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal are both excellent in their own contexts, but they approach combat design in fundamentally different ways. 2016 is about agency and consequence and emergence. Eternal is about structure and enforcement and execution. Doom 2016 doesn't manage the player. It presents challenges and lets players meet them however they see fit. Doom Eternal manages the player. It prescribes solutions and validates execution. That means 2016 doesn't ask, "Are you performing correctly?" It asks, "What do you want to do here?" And that question, unanswered by the game, is what makes 2016 feel genuinely cerebral. Not execution under pressure, real decision-making. And because so many players conflate structured optimization with thoughtfulness, Doom Eternal's existence reveals something bigger than just a better or worse debate. It shows that modern audiences increasingly equate controlled execution with intelligence. And that's a cultural shift worth thinking about, not just in games, in everything. And this is why I genuinely want to applaud the people who criticize Doom Eternal and Eternal-like games when they do it properly. Not with knee-jerk reactions, not with, "It's bad because I don't like it," not with nostalgia goggles or contrarian rage, but with arguments. Because when someone can articulate why a system feels restrictive, how a mechanic shapes player behavior, and what is gained or lost through those design decisions, that tells me something important. Critical thinking hasn't died. It tells me players are still capable of separating preference from analysis and enjoyment from examination. It tells me that even in a landscape increasingly dominated by optimization loops, dopamine feedback systems, and play it the right way design, there are still people asking the harder questions. Questions like, does this system expand choice or narrow it? Am I thinking freely or executing efficiently? Am I being challenged or being managed? Those questions matter, not just for Doom, but for game design as a whole. Because criticism like that isn't an attack. It's engagement. It's the difference between saying, "This game isn't for me," and saying, "This game represents a design philosophy worth examining." And the fact that these conversations keep resurfacing around Doom Eternal, years after release, isn't a sign of bitterness or ignorance. It's a sign that the game touched something fundamental about how modern design treats players. So to the people who push back thoughtfully, who argue mechanics instead of motives, who analyze systems instead of defending brands, genuinely respect. You're proof that games are still being thought about, not just consumed. And as long as that's true, meaningful discussion hasn't gone anywhere. It's just getting louder, and that's a good thing. So if you're someone who feels this way, if you've ever played a game and thought, "This is impressive, but it doesn't trust me," you're not crazy and you're not alone. If you care about player agency, expressive play, and systems that let you think instead of just execute, this conversation is for you. Keep questioning design, keep separating polish from depth, keep valuing freedom over obedience, even when the feedback loops feel good. Because games don't get better by being defended into silence. They get better when players are willing to look past the spectacle and ask what's really happening under the hood. And if that kind of thinking resonates with you, then you're exactly the kind of player this channel is for. Until next time, take it easy, stay sharp, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers, Legends.